You look like someone who'd be interested in a bargain.
A bargain?
Yeah.
Why, sure, why not? Are you a salesman?
Right.
Oh. What do you sell?
Eights.
Eights, like the number 8. like the number 8.
Right.
Oh, that's kind of a weird thing to be selling.
Hey, fun fans, it's another episode of We Enjoy. We are the Mattitude Eric. I am Matt Fowler. Say hello, Eric Goldman.
Hello, everybody. How goes it?
You always do a sort of, it's not like an English voice, but it's not an Australian voice, but it's not, it's somewhere in between, but it always reminds me of Robert Englund's Hello, Hello in Ford Fairlane. It always reminds me of his, because I think he was doing Australian.
Was he doing? I guess he probably was. In retrospect,
He was a full-on dreadnought in that movie.
I mean, it was a great bad accent. Like
it wasn't good. Yeah, it's my point. Yeah.
but he was having fun, and I was having fun watching him.
All I'm saying is he should have been in a Harry Potter movie.
Yes,
with an accent that great. We're here to talk about Seed of Chucky this week in what I presume, I can't confirm, only history will really tell the tale. What I presume will be the jizziest episode of We Enjoy ever. I don't want to make a declaration, like a definitive statement on that, because who knows what we'll talk about in the future.
I mean,
there's
something movie about Mary, and there's some American Pie movies, but yeah, this is up there.
This is going to be the chunkiest movie we've ever spoken about. Oh, you don't like that? After all of our talk about Chucky's gonna fart, Chucky's gonna fuck, now it's literally Chucky's gonna jerk off.
And he does.
Promise fulfilled. So we'll be talking about Seed of Chucky in the main event today. We've got some surprise Marvel news to talk about.
They like to give us news, don't they?
They do, and there's a lot of content. Mm-hmm. And some Saw news, and no real write-ins this week. Not a lot of Twitter activity for us, and not a lot of write-ins, but you can, if you'd like to, tweet us at We Enjoy Podcast, or write us at weenjoypodcast@gmail.com, or write us on the Patreon. You can also become a Patreon patron. For $2 a month, you can get an ad-free version of this podcast over at We Enjoy Podcast over on Patreon. And Eric and I are on Twitter at the Matt Fowler and the Eric Goldman. Now that the business is all out of the way, what do you want to start with, Eric? Do you want to just talk about, like, this is something that, like, okay, one tweet we did get today specifically was like someone telling us we needed to talk about the Jigsaw account on Twitter on the podcast, and I don't know how to crack that code, Eric. How do you talk about a Twitter account on a do we just read tweets? Like, I can't do the voice, so I don't know. I don't know how to talk about it except to say, hey, this is funny. Like,
yeah, because I guess, I mean, there's news in that the official, as far as we know,
there was a Twitter takeover.
Yeah.
The official Saw account gave their account over in a funny sort of rivalry with a account that's been around for a while called Saw Quotes. Called Saw Quotes, and it's at Jigsaw _quotes, and it's basically if Jigsaw was on Twitter, and also if Hoffman was on Twitter too, because sometimes Hoffman, who's portrayed as an idiot, which is really funny.
Oh, yeah, as well.
He's just a meathead. He's kind of like the Austin Theory of the Saw Brigade. If we're comparing the Saw apprentices to NXT's The Way.
Yes.
But it's just a funny account, and so they took over the Spiral Saw account and posted a picture. It's not a new picture. I think a lot of people were seeing it for the first time today of, I guess we call Thicc with 2 C's Jigsaw, which is quite a sight to behold, quite something to absorb with your eyeballs. And how do you talk about a Twitter account? It's very funny.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest takeaway here, because I saw an article that was about the, like, you know, quote unquote rivalry, you know, it's all in fun with this fan account and the official Saw account. But it did make me start looking at the fan account. And yeah, again, Jigsaw _quotes. I'll just say, if you are a Saw fan, you can't be, I don't think it's a good one for casuals, but if you know these movies, this is a damn funny Twitter, just as far as, making fun of all the good stuff to make fun of about Saw, whether it be Hoffman's an idiot, Secret Apprentices in general, and just the price involved, the work involved, the contradictions involved. There was a really funny one about like what would happen if someone doesn't reach one of the traps clearly meant for them. And to think about in the movies that there's times when this could have happened, where it's like the fourth room is kind of aimed at one of the people, but what if they died in one of the earlier rooms? Right.
And that really comes up very specifically in Saw 2. So if you followed us from We Enjoy Wrestling to We Enjoy, we did a franchise recap of Saw on We Enjoy Wrestling. I chopped it up and I released it as We Enjoy episodes, 4 episodes and 4 episodes. So 2 episodes of 4 movies apiece. That's not 4 episodes, 4 movies apiece in which we talk about all of them. And I remember us in Saw 2 talking about how Jigsaw became sort of a dungeon master in that game, in that movie, because he had a whole like house area where there were probably some rooms they never opened.
Right.
And also, we did see some characters face like a room that was specifically kind of made for them, but then other people didn't. Like you just said, other people died in a different way. It never got to, there's still a room out there that's meant for someone no one's ever opened.
Like what about the guy who got shot right away? Like,
exactly.
I bet he had a great room.
Yeah, he probably had a great room, but also him getting shot in that very specific way was a kind of like, if we're just buying into the world of Saw, was a fluke. Like literally that was such a random thing that he would put his face right where that gun is at a certain time. Right. That I think I remember us also saying, we wish there were some traps that would go off, but that missed their mark.
Right.
Like some things that were just activated that just like something would snap shut or a gun would go off and it would miss, because not everything can just be perfect, but it's a movie. Yes. So it's a franchise we enjoy. So
this Twitter account takes into account everything we just joked about. Things going off at the wrong time, things getting to the wrong person. It's very funny. I was sitting, Matt, eating. I wasn't reading my lunch. I was eating my lunch while reading it, cracking up hysterically for strangers to wonder what was happening. That I was just laughing my little head off.
I'm reading some right now. This isn't news, everyone. This is just today. Eric and I discovered a Twitter account we enjoy. So the news is that we enjoy this Twitter account, and you might too. And also, the news is just to remind us that Spiral from the Book of Saw is coming out, and I'm extraordinarily excited about this movie. I am a big Saw franchise fan, knowing that many, if not more than half, of the movies are not great. Right. But I still am so drawn to the concept. And I'll say the same thing about The Purge. I'm a big Purge fan. Mm-hmm. Are these masterpieces? No, but I still really like the concept of The Purge. I actually also like the TV show, which I think flew under most everyone's radar.
At some point I need to watch that.
It only lasted 2 seasons, but it did go out on a really strong note in a way where it's like, if it was only 2 seasons by design, you could have told me it was by design, because it felt really good. Anyway, there's a new Purge movie coming out. I'm also very excited. So we enjoy these things, even though they might not be of the utmost quality.
At some point we might do the Purge movies. We'll see.
Yeah, there's not that many. I don't know how we would get through a TV show, though.
I don't think we do the TV show. I think we maybe we do the pilot or something.
I kind of want you to watch it, though. We don't have to do it for the podcast, but anyway.
I mean, I want to watch it, too. I do want to watch it.
Okay. So in non-Saw related news, sadly, Marvel, whatever.
Skip it.
Marvel released their slate. Now we're talking their actual in theaters movie slate. So aside from
this was all designed around like returning to the theatrical experience. It was
because then they had like a big cool sizzle reel of like, remember these cool moments and emotional moments from the movies, and they played the opening night theater footage of like the end of Endgame where everyone cheers. Have you seen the Endgame cheering put over Bob Odenkirk appearing in Little Women?
Yes, I have.
Okay, that's one of my favorite tweets from 2020.
It got you through.
Or 2019. I can't remember. No, when did Little Women came out?
Well, Little Women came out Was it the end of 2018 or 2019? It was Christmas.
2019, but it was. I feel like it was still a topic in 2020.
No, yeah, no,
the
Oscars,
I
think this tweet you're talking about was early last year. Yeah.
Okay. So Marvel released their movie slate through basically kind of summer 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got Black Widow coming up on July 9th. We've got Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings on September 3rd. It's so crazy how many Marvel movies are actually still coming this year.
I mean, we knew most of this, but I think that the newest we'll talk about the new footage.
No, I know. I'm just listing them all, and then we'll get to the new names that popped up. So, Eternals on November 5th. We got actually a few scenes from Eternals. Eric, it looks really boring. I really want to like Eternals. The footage was not something that I would dip a pen in inkwell and write home about. Spider-Man No Way Home on December 17th. Then we get into next year, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness on March 25th. Thor Love and Thunder on May 6th. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, which is the official title now.
That was a big reveal, the title there.
The Black Panther sequel. And another big reveal was the movie The Marvels, which is the Captain Marvel sequel, which will now involve Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, along with Miss Marvel, and who else?
Monica Rambeau.
Monica Rambeau, yeah.
And if you look at the logo, it's like the Captain Marvel logo saying the Marvels, except that the S is Miss Marvel, and in the A is like Monica Rambeau's logo. So it's mixing them all together.
Then we've got Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, February 17th. We already knew that name. What if it was called...
But we didn't know the date. This is where we started getting dates.
This was the date. What if it was called, Eric, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Paranoia?
That would be great because we'd have a song that we love ready to go.
I Google it. Okay, so you want to go into a Paranoia dive? Let's see. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 on May 5th. Then we get our second ever tease for Fantastic Four, which is still doesn't have any date attached to it. But it also does not mean it comes directly after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It's just on the horizon.
So I'll backtrack here to kind of go through what we learned. Here's the thing I'll say about Eternals, Matt. I know you weren't nearly as big on Nomadland as I was, but
I didn't like Nomadland.
You said a few.
Everyone had a big smelly butt, but
you said a few scenes. It was like 10 seconds of Eternals.
I've seen 10 seconds of other films that got me way more excited than the 10 seconds they showed of. It was them standing in a field, and one of them zipped away or zipped up, like zoom.
Makari runs up, and then you get Angelina with a cool see-through sword. I was into that.
That's fine. I'm more, the movie I'm more excited about to see Angelina Jolie in is, what is it? Those Who Wish to Kill Me? Is that what it's called?
I keep forgetting the title.
Taylor Sheridan movie comes out this month.
It comes out very soon. It's one of the HBO Max simultaneous drops.
And it's got Nicholas Hoult in it, and it's got Aidan Gillen in it, and it's got her like skydiving into fires. Show me 10 seconds of that movie, and I'm more excited than Eternals.
Anyway, I was intrigued by our Eternals tease, but of course I want to see more. And then with the title reveals, look, the Black Panther sequel has this huge burden of how they deal with Chadwick Boseman, his death, and the fact that they said they are not going to recast T'Challa. So what does that mean? The easy assumption is that they will have to kill T'Challa off. How do you do that? Do you have someone in the costume die at the beginning of the movie? Did he die in between movies? A lot of questions there, but that title, is everyone loves that phrase, so it makes a lot of sense, especially because T'Challa won't be part of this franchise anymore. Like Wakanda Forever is kind of a great, statement as they want to continue this in a way, and we know also they're working on a Wakanda TV series for Disney Plus, so that makes sense.
Is it my idea of just someone opening up a restaurant in Wakanda, and it's actually called Wakanda Forever, and it's like a pho place that serves
pho? Yes, I hope that is exactly it. I don't know if you saw, Matt, that there was some because I'm all about that Disney park life. There was a big thing this past week for the Disney Cruise Line, which, yes, cruises are going to have a very big uphill battle as they try to come back post-pandemic. But there's a big new Disney cruise next year, the Disney Wish, a new ship that will launch, and it will have a Marvel restaurant in it, and it will have food from Sokovia and Wakanda and places like that.
But
so,
will it be as good as the Marvel restaurant we ate at Universal?
Marvel Mania?
The Green Goblin shake that you love so much.
I did love the Green Goblin shake, so I can only hope. Maybe they'll bring back a few old favorites from Marvel Mania. I saw a funny thing. Random people on Twitter. I know it's, why highlight them when there's a lot of stupid people out there and whatnot. But sometimes it's just funny to me what people say. And because also, Matt, you never know, is this a real idiot or are they having a laugh?
Is this a real Hoffman or a fake Hoffman?
Right. Because someone said Wakanda Forever is a terrible title. Everyone's going to make fun of it because they named it after the meme. As if the meme of Wakanda Forever just birthed itself into existence without the freaking billion-dollar movie being a reason people meme Wakanda Forever. It's like, do they never see the movie Black Panther? So they're like,
they only know it from the meme. I know a bunch of people. I'm sure I know plenty of people who never watched a lick of SpongeBob, but only know SpongeBob memes, like you, Eric.
Oh yeah. I've seen a lick of it, Matt.
I'm gonna send you 5 SpongeBob episodes to watch. I'm gonna have to curate 5 brilliant episodes of, because you see Steppenwall and the other Rolling Stone editors put together the top 100 sitcoms of all time, and SpongeBob was number 34. Eric, 34.
It was. My mom appeared in 3 of those 100 shows.
So was not one Friends, Girlfriends, was that on there?
No.
Was your mom on Girlfriends?
No.
Oh, why did I think your mom was on Girlfriends?
I can't tell you.
But Paper Chase wasn't on it.
It was not.
And if I only could make a deal with God. I'm sorry. You said uphill battle, so now I'm running up that hill. All right. SpongeBob.
My mom.
That's something else that I enjoy.
Well, SpongeBob, I saw the first movie in the theater at the Chinese.
That's a funny movie. I haven't seen the new one, but yeah.
The 3 shows my mom appeared on in Rolling Stone's 100 best comedies, TV comedies, were Friends, Scrubs, and Living Single.
Living Single, that's what I got mixed up with. Girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say you're kind of being racist because you're just picking another black-led show, but
it's weird. They're about all still girlfriends, right?
That's true. I think she was on 2 episodes of Living Single because she played a neighbor. So I think she was down the hall on a couple episodes being wacky.
Racist neighbor?
No, just a wacky neighbor. Just goofy neighbor.
All right.
Lady in heels. There you go.
One more bit of news here before we get to all the jizz. Which is, one more news? Yes, which is, with piggybacking off this Marvel movie theater news, which is Marvel Disney Plus streaming news, that Loki has been moved up a few days to June 9th instead of June 11th, and it's now going to be a Wednesday phenomenon instead of a Friday phenomenon like The Mandalorian has been and the previous 2 Marvel MCU shows. So Wednesday show for Loki. Do you know why? Are they trying to get out of Netflix's way? What's going on?
I mean, I don't know why, but my speculation is I was going to say 2-fold or 3-fold, but I can't. Who knows how many numbers Alexander upon? So it's multifold. Because first people were saying, the 5th episode of Loki has in the original schedule, if it had been Fridays, was going to debut the same day Black Widow opens, and they didn't want to compete with themselves. But I'd also point out they'll always be competing with themselves. When Black Widow opens, it will be the first of 6 MCU movies opening within 1 year, up through I think Thor: Love and Thunder. That's under a year. And they'll constantly have that issue especially if they're opening if Fridays is the day that they're putting out new episodes and movies are opening. So we don't know. It could just be Loki is Wednesdays, but I wouldn't be shocked if it starts being all their shows to avoid their other stuff on Fridays, and B, to spread things out in general, because at a certain point, I think they're going to have a live action Star Wars show and a live action Marvel show at the same time. And they wouldn't want to drop them both on Fridays. They'd rather spread that out and have people talking about them longer. And also, when you said Netflix, I think it is just in general, this became this strange thing of drop your streaming shows on Fridays. It's not 100%.
Well, for Netflix, I understand it because they would give people the weekend to binge something right.
Because
Shadow and Bone's first season came out during the on the same day Winter Soldier finale came out. So
yeah. That's a good point. I also think that, but I think others probably followed it because they felt like, people can watch it this weekend. It become a thing of the weekend. They talk about it. But it did become kind of a logjam with all these streaming shows debuting either an entire season or even like just episodes on Fridays. So why not get away from that? But also I just think it's a savvy thing that Disney Plus might be looking to do. Again, with the assumption, we don't know. They might go back to Fridays. But say they keep the Marvel shows on Wednesdays and they keep the Star Wars shows on Fridays. It's like, basically, it's like they're going to try to cut out like a niche as like almost like a network with multiple days because they do weekly episodes that people are talking about them. It's like more coverage, more articles, especially these shows that we all will talk about and write about. So yeah, it'll constantly keep them in the conversation and constantly make people who don't have Disney Plus say, "Oh, maybe I should get Disney Plus." If there's people talking about them all week.
Speaking of Netflix, have you clicked on that Play Anything button yet?
No, I actually haven't. Yeah, you know how I barely use Netflix these days.
I don't either. Well, no, I actually use it quite a bit because I review shows, and so they actually move their screeners.
Which I love. Press. I mean, that's one thing I wish everyone did.
Account. Yeah. So I go on my Netflix account to watch screeners. My second point I wanted to make before we move on to good things to enjoy is with Netflix's avalanche of shows, they're just flood. Do people even know that tomorrow or today or whenever it is you listen to this podcast, we're recording Thursday night for Friday, maybe you're downloading it or listening to it. People know on Friday that a comic book show called Jupiter's Legacy from Stephen S. DeKnight is debuting, that stars Josh Duhamel and Leslie Bibb, and is kind of like another of the sort of new modern trend of Watchmen type shows like The Boys and Invincible, which is like mature alternate universe superhero shows that are based on comic books, but not anything Marvel or DC, just like their own sort of subversive take on superheroes, like maybe superheroes are the bad guys, or so Jupiter's Legacy is coming out. I feel like nobody knows about it.
I will tell you this. I know it exists, but only because of Twitter, including following DeKnight. I didn't know who starred it until you just said that. I didn't know those were the stars. So.
Yeah, and it's basically, think of it more along the lines of a Watchmen, which is like there's an old team of superheroes and there's a new team of superheroes, and they're clashing over like should they kill or not, and it's a big thing. I was surprised by it just because I feel like Stephen S. DeKnight still has a lot of good cred. I mean, Spartacus was a while ago. I liked Pacific Rim Uprising, but I know a lot of people didn't. But yeah, people like the first season of Daredevil too, even though he didn't have anything to do with the second and third. But it just seems weird when you can do a show where money was put into this show. I watched I watched all 8 episodes, and it's got all these big fucking effects and stuff like that, and it's gonna be buried by Monday.
Yeah, it's weird. I will say, a couple things I'll say about this show. I believe this is one of the first, if not the first show from their big overall deal.
Oh yeah, from Miller World. From Miller World.
World, yeah. That's right. It's spelled Millar, but I think he does say Miller. Also, DeKnight, I guess, again, this is my only context for his involvement, was seeing him tweet about it, and that he didn't stay with the show, even though he's like, basically saying, hey, it was like a friendly, passing the baton thing. So I don't even think he was there through like making this season.
Well, I know he wrote the finale. So right. He still plotted out with the writing everything. So anyway, this is coming off of the weird news too that The Irregulars was canceled, and I only mention that because it's another show on Netflix that probably nobody heard about. I watched it because I reviewed it. Would I have watched it if I wasn't reviewing it? No, there's too much stuff. But The Irregulars is notable because a few weeks ago it actually beat Falcon and the Winter Soldier during like the third week of Falcon and the Winter Soldier as the most streamed show of the week. And so it was this big news that Irregulars, which actually came out a while ago and was something that wasn't a weekly release model, it was just a binge all at once, 7 or 8 episodes, beat out of nowhere Falcon and Winter Soldier during that show's third week. And they had like something like 630 million minutes or something streamed. We don't know what that means. We've talked about it before, but it seemed like that it was being touted. Now it's been canceled after one season because Netflix, but Anyway, that's our Netflix news. I have not yet pushed the play anything button. Or play anything or play something. I can't remember.
Play something, I believe. Yeah.
All right. What is your good thing to enjoy this week, Eric?
My good thing to enjoy is a television series, and it's one that you enjoy as well, Matt.
You sure?
Yes.
Spartacus?
It's not Spartacus, although it's in its realm. It's Black Sails is the show.
Oh, Black Sails is so good. Is this based on the news that Taika Waititi is playing Blackbeard?
No, it is not. It is based on me coming across, as I'm organizing stuff in my home, the Black Sails one-shot comic book that was about Rackham, written by the actor who played Rackham. And me thinking to myself, Black Sails was great.
But it is... I would say it's Spartacus just because it's a period piece and it's violent and it's well done. But also, I place Black Sails in one of the categories of rare shows that ended fantastically.
Yes. And this is, it's funny because I realize, I'm glad you mentioned that. Because so Black Sails, if you have any familiarity like with its existence, I mean, if you've watched it, great. But if you're just like, oh, is that the pirate show? Yeah, that's the Starz pirate show, which certainly I think owes its existence to the success of Spartacus, to Starz at the time being like, let's replicate Spartacus with another period piece with cool sex and violence and nudity, and see where it takes us. And I'm glad you mentioned that about the ending, though, because it has, like so many shows, the burden it has of me recommending it is saying doesn't start great, but gets great.
Yeah, it's if I recall, it's this. These aren't long seasons, though.
No, it's only 40 episodes total. There were 4 10-episode seasons. So.
But the first season, is not the show's best season.
No.
Sadly, and that's the way a lot of shows do go. And asking that to people to watch a full season before something gets good is a lot in this environment, in this climate of television. But it's not terrible TV either. It's still good. It's still a good first season. It just gets
it's a decent first season, but at the time I remember being kind of cynical because at the time I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, it wasn't, I wasn't that into the characters at first. And I'm like, okay, you've got lots of sex and nudity because Spartacus did that. And so I felt the like attempts to replicate Spartacus early on. And it was tough for me to get past that. But then, yeah, it gets really good. And by the second season, it gets great. And as Matt mentioned, it ends great, which is like, to me, I know it's a tough road to tell people this show doesn't start great, but it gets there. But so many people, more than you and I, as we've discussed, are so about that damn ending. And did they land the ending? So I'm like, hey, this show ends really well.
But you know what else? Like,
too.
You know what else isn't great? I think in its first season, and all shows evolve and all great shows
almost every
get
show,
better.
Yeah.
Americans. The Americans gets so much better in season 2. Schitt's Creek, not the best first season. I know.
I hear that. I haven't seen it, but I hear that a lot.
Especially like the first 3 or 4 episodes. I know people haven't gotten through it, but you stick with it. By the second season, it just takes this exponential leap. Parks and Rec, very infamous sort of first shortened 6-episode season that
trying
did not
to
land
replicate
well.
The Office a lot more.
Did not land well, and they didn't find the voice for that show until season 2. So yeah, this is not uncommon, but I still know that it's an ask. But it's a great show, and you talk about how it's a sequel to a prequel.
It's a prequel to Treasure Island. Yeah.
So it's saying that it mixes fictional characters from Treasure Island and gives them their backstory, like Long John Silver, and then also Captain Flint, who's mentioned in Treasure Island.
Right.
You see him as a full character, but it mixes those characters with historical pirates of the era. Yeah. So it's mixed with real history.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. I know there's a couple other good examples of this that I'm now currently blanking on. But yeah, of that mixing of fictional characters and real people, but especially in this, there's this extra level because it's a prequel to a very well-known book, which has also been turned into films multiple times, including with Muppets. And so, it's funny. It's produced by Michael Bay, although like many things he produces, he had nothing creatively to do with it. But yeah, it looks really cool. And the characters just get great as it goes on. Like I said, the first season, it was leaving me a little cold. I was liking it, but I wasn't loving it. But it just gets great. It's a short watch. It's only the 4 seasons, 4 10-episode seasons. I think, people get really into it as it goes on. It was like one of my favorite shows by the time it ended. And I love the characters. I love, the interactions. I love where things go. Those Starz shows in general. I mean, Spartacus, again, Spartacus, I don't want to like overstate. It wasn't like a giant, massive show, but it was a hit. It had a big following. I feel like those Starz shows get kind of overlooked, even when people are talking about like, the progression of LGBTQ characters, because those characters have a lot of great characters in that arena.
Oh, those, both shows were really great with that. Yeah.
So there's a lot of, I don't want to say twists and turns. It's not exactly that kind of show, but just cool interactions, cool sort of things with loyalty and whatnot. So I really like it. It's kind of calling to me maybe to rewatch at some point, and it is on Hulu. You can buy them a bunch of places too, but if you have Hulu, you can currently stream Black Sails. And
also, it has my favorite score from Bear McCreary.
Mm-hmm. Who does so much great TV scores. Battlestar was, of course, his sort of breakout, and then Walking Dead,
the opening
Shield.
credits to Black Sails is my favorite.
So good. Great opening credits.
Someone actually just wrote in on Patreon, so before I get to my good thing to enjoy, I will. Where can people stream it?
I just did Hulu.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. You weren't listening to me at all, Matt.
Stu writes into Patreon, you guys made a great decision. Your channel surfing vibe was amazing and part of my weekly routine back in the day. I tried a couple episodes of the wrestling podcast and it was out of my wheelhouse, but I'm a 40-ish dentist and get excited when the new We Enjoy pops up. So well done. Thank you, Stu, for writing in.
Thank you.
I wonder what Stu thinks about The Dentist starring Corbin Burnson.
You did before we began recording. Matt brought up The Dentist starring Corbin Burnson, a movie I've never seen, but it's been.
I've never seen it either. I just know
okay. You're not a dentist head.
I just know that two stars from LA Law went on to be in medical profession horror movies. So.
That's very true. Yes.
Okay. My good thing to enjoy is actually popped in my head as I was watching Seed of Chucky this week, because the star of Young Sherlock Holmes is inexplicably has a very small scene in Seed of Chucky. His name's Nicholas Rowe. He plays a lawyer at the end of the movie. And I was like, oh yeah, young Sherlock Holmes. So what I'm going to do is...
I had no idea. That's very funny.
Oh yeah, well, I looked it up because I was like, that looks like fucking young Sherlock Holmes. But he also still looks really young. When did this movie come out? Does the age work? I looked up the credits.
2004.
Yeah, I looked up the credits and it was him. So I'm recommending young Sherlock Holmes in the way Eric recommended Lady in White, but with a little bit of a twist in that I have not seen this movie recently. I remember really enjoying this movie. I remember really enjoying it when I would eventually rent the movie after I'd seen it in the theaters, but I haven't seen it in forever. So I couldn't really tell you how well it holds up, except that I tweeted about it a few weeks ago, and people like Brian Lynch and other people brought up the fact that it does kind of still hold up. That in their opinion, they've seen it more recently than I have. So I'm going to recommend this movie as my good thing to enjoy, but also I am also going to try to find a way to watch it myself so that I can relive it, because I remember enjoying it a lot. It's basically another take on Sherlock Holmes. It's directed by Barry Levinson. It was written by Chris Columbus, and it doesn't star anyone super famous. A lot of British actors who I'm, presumably went on to do a ton of British TV and movies and stuff like that, but nobody whose name will actually pop out at you anywhere. I'm looking at the cast now, and nobody's like a standout. Like nobody I could even pull from a Harry Potter movie, Eric. So it's basically like Holmes and Watson's formative years. It's a new take on their origin story, where it's like basically they knew each other in school. But I remember this was a movie like Lady in White and like some other, I should say, what do you call it? Just like family horror movies of the time, which is that this was a scary movie. This movie scared me as a kid. And it the movie involves people having like really sort of vivid hallucinations. And some of those like nightmarish scenes that were really scary. And there's death and there's violence and stuff in this movie, and there's stakes. So it's not like, it's for kids, it's for everyone. But I really enjoyed it. And so I'm recommending Young Sherlock Holmes. I don't know where you can watch it. I will have to take that journey myself because I want to rewatch it.
Hulu and Prime is where you can watch it. Your Sherlock Holmes was also produced by Spielberg. It was Amblin, in an era where Amblin was just such a huge brand, though this was one of their few box office bombs.
Yeah, I wonder why. Did it not get good reviews? I don't even know.
I don't know. Now, the funny thing with me in this movie is I had never seen this movie. It somehow completely, it was, very, very rare for me to miss an Amblin movie in the 80s. I saw Batteries Not Included in the theater, but I didn't see Young Sherlock Holmes until about maybe 5 years ago. I saw it at the New Beverly.
Oh, so you've seen it more recently than me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember enjoying it. I can't remember much of the details of the movie. Obviously I was seeing it as a full-grown adult, and so I didn't have the kid's eye on it. I remember enjoying it and seeing why my fellow 80s kids were really into it, because I certainly was well aware that a lot of people really dug it, and it was weird that I missed it. So I did enjoy it. I can't say I loved it, but I certainly enjoyed it, and I saw the appeal of it for people. So,
well, the guy who played young Sherlock Holmes went on to play middle-aged lawyer talking to Jennifer Tilly at the end of Seed of Chucky. So.
And it's an early example of if you watch it, there's a post-credit scene. People, there
is. And when I was
setting up a sequel that never happened.
When I was a kid, I didn't understand it because I didn't know from Sherlock Holmes when I actually saw this movie. I wasn't like I hadn't read the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle novels.
Sure,
I was familiar with the franchise characters. But people who stuck around must have shit their pants. That's like seeing Thanos.
They were freaking out.
All right,
this movie is always mentioned. My last thing I'll say on Sherlock Holmes is it's always mentioned in history of CGI stuff because what is it? The Stained Glass Man is one of the first characters, maybe the first character made with
it's the first fully computer generated animated character, which is the knight that's made of the stained glass window, like you said.
Yep.
It was created by Lucasfilm's ILM. So, and John Lasseter.
Yep.
All right. So our main event next week is Curse of Chucky. This is where it gets tricky. Where can we find Curse of Chucky, Eric?
Yeah, this is where it gets tricky as we go into the straight to video era of Chucky. Though Curse was at one point on Netflix, it's not currently. I looked it up, and you can buy it or rent it. The only places you can watch it without that additional cost, if you have these things, is if you're a DirecTV subscriber, or if you, whether it be through something like DirecTV, or if you're a cable subscriber, if you can watch Sci-Fi, like it's it's one of the things you can watch via Sci-Fi, like through their app or on sci-fi.com. They do have Curse of Chucky. So
I do have cable, so I can probably get that. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, Seed of Chucky, Eric. Initial thoughts for Seed of Chucky for me is that this movie is not really my jam. I think it's a full-on train wreck, but saying that, there are some legitimately funny parts of this movie that laugh out loud funny moments that really get me. And I saw this movie for the first time recently, like last November, because I wrote that whole Chucky script for IGN for a video. So I watched all the Chucky movies, including the ones I hadn't seen, which were basically the movies after Bride of Chucky.
Yeah.
There are some laugh out loud lines and scenes in this movie, but this movie certainly feels like we're never going to get to make another Chucky movie after this. We're going to throw everything into this, knowing that they'll never let us behind a camera again. What can we do to make this absolutely insane? And I think there was a way to make this still insane, but cohesive, but this is sort of insane, but a mess. That's my opinion.
This is not my favorite. When it came out, I was definitely really disappointed by it. Again, loving the series and loving Bride so much, and being psyched for this movie, which took 6 years. That's the funny thing, is there was another huge gap here. Even though Bride
and it takes place 6 years later too, so they use that time in a real way. But it just tipped too far over into the absurd. Like Bride found the absurdity balance perfectly, and this just went too far.
That is the big, I think the common complaint, which I share, which is that Bride, was like, okay, we're going to embrace comedy, we're going to embrace meta, self-awareness, and yet it still managed to ride that line. It still managed to not go too far and feel like the vibe of it still worked. This one goes into total farce, and it just goes too far with the series. Now, it was interesting because I was like I've been watching these like Don Mancini interviews as we've been watching these movies where he talks about each movie. And he totally acknowledges that he like stands by the film. He likes the film, but he also says where I went wrong was missing that balance that Bride had. It lost the horror audience here because it was no longer Bride of Chucky still is a horror movie with a lot of comedy. Seed of Chucky is just an insane doll comedy. They kill people and it's gory, but it's
also massively spermy.
It's very I mean, and so going back to my opinion on this movie has gotten better over the years. When it came out, I was like, oh, this didn't work at all. This is my least favorite. It's no longer my least favorite, actually. 3 is my least favorite now, only because of what grew on me about this movie as it went on. And again, this doesn't make it a great movie, but I started to admire more of the balls, no pun intended, of this movie. And the fact that because this is where the Chucky series, Bride had already done this huge shift, but now they're like, we are going to like really let this series be freaking malleable. Like this is this insane series about a killer doll. And now we can kind of bob and weave into different genres, different type of things. Again, I don't think this movie is completely successful in what it's trying to do. But I started to admire more of what it was doing and kind of the audacity of it. And like you said, there's some very funny moments in it. I also think one of its weaknesses is frankly that, this was Mancini's directorial debut, and I think it shows. He's directed the film since, and he's way better because people get better as they continue. So I think like it feels like a first-time director, which is especially tough coming off Ronnie Yu, who was very stylized. And that movie, Bride of Chucky looks so cool. So yeah, just like maybe this movie could have worked a little better if it like had some crazy tone, like vibe to it, but it doesn't. So yeah, there's things I definitely enjoy about this movie, and it like some of the like crazy Friday the 13th movies, like Jason Goes to Hell. I admire it for how crazy it is, even though I'm like, this is not one of the best movies of the series.
What do you think? Something that struck me the second time watching it here. What do you think? Like Brad Dourif, who's been Chucky since the beginning,
right?
Thought reading these lines, this script in particular. What is his thought process of how this character and this story has evolved to this point where now, because remember you said something when we were talking about Bride with Liv Morgan last week, and thank you to Liv for returning to talk about her favorite Chucky movie and her favorite movie, Bride of Chucky, which is that you said, and I vaguely remember it. I didn't remember when you told me at the time, but I think I did say it, which is like, Chucky is like Al Bundy. And so this is the movie where Chucky is really like Al Bundy. Like this is the one where, because now he's like quote unquote trapped in this family with a kid. Now he's married with children. And what does Brad Dourif think of this? Like after, I don't know, if anything, there's a paycheck involved, but and he's portraying a character there no one sees him. Mm-hmm. So it's just a voice character. Like, what kind of ownership does he have of it? I'm just curious about that. I think if this movie had about half of the craziness, it would have been more effective. Because just casting Jennifer Tilly as herself, as a fictionalized version of Jennifer Tilly, is such a huge, bet. It's such a huge roll of the dice that when you start layering even more insanity on top of that, like that's just Jennifer Tilly playing herself is enough almost. Like then you get into like the artificial insemination of it all and all the gooey Chucky batter and all that stuff. Like then and also making, there's an element of this where it's like Don Mancini's new nightmare because they're making a movie about Chucky, but it's not about Chucky from the 80s. It's not about the Andy storyline. It's about how Chucky and Tiffany are somehow an urban legend just based on Bride of Chucky. And people knew he was stitched up. And there's a lot of weird leaps in this movie that I can't fully fill in myself. You're probably better at that at this point. But like, how does the amulet just are those the original dolls that they're using for the movie? Or how does the amulet magically put those spirits in these dolls? Because up until this point, you always needed the original doll at least, or the person in the same room with the doll. I don't know.
That part, I mean, I guess that part, I mean, I enjoy pondering it. Yeah, like, are we to believe that they, like, someone recovered the dolls from that cemetery and they've been, like, rebuilt and these are the dolls they're using? I don't know.
Because I'm still wondering if, like, how the iconic look of Chucky, because remember, before this, he was an urban legend only as a fully intact, pristine good guy doll. Now he's the bride of Chucky stitched together that Tiffany did from that movie. Is that like did it just become an urban legend because of the doll recovered from the scene because he was in the grave? I don't know.
I mean, that's what I think you'd have to go with, right? Is that they would have found, a crime scene, the dead guy, the guy that he shot, the gravedigger, presumably the cop that Glenn killed. We don't know for sure that he was killed, but we can assume that. And they would have found Tiffany all burnt up and stitched Chucky shot and dead in the open grave. So I guess you can kind of go with that. That part, I mean, I don't really concern myself on that part, but it is funny that it's like, you got some questions there. Your Brad Dourif question is, I mean, I get the idea Brad Dourif is up for anything when you look at his career, certainly bouncing from like schlock to Deadwood. The guy likes to work, and who can blame him? But I also think he has a lot of affection for this, Chucky, and him and Mancini have gotten very, again, it's one of those funny things when you go back to the first film and that Mancini was not a part of the production of the first movie, was not a part of the casting of Dourif, but embraced it, and it seems like they get along very well. And we'll talk about when we get to next week and they start to cast a member of his family in this film.
Yeah, it's a family affair. It's a generational thing. You pass down the Chucky legacy,
right? So I'm guessing if I were him, he'd probably be just having fun with it because the early scripts were so specific about got to get out of this body, saying the voodoo chant, I'm going to kill you. And now suddenly he's got all this dialogue, 2 movies in a row, and this one going even further with, the wife, the kids.
He's more than just talking to Tiffany. He's got Glenn or Glenda to talk to, which is to say also that this, a big influence for this movie for Don Mancini was Ed Wood's Glenn or Glenda, which at the time was, what would you call it? I guess you would call it a transvestite movie at the time, but it still dug into the idea of gender identity.
Right.
And which is something this movie actually also was very, for the era, it was super progressive when it was talking about, like, Glenn's choice to be whatever gender that they wanted to be, because they weren't assigned anything at birth, technically. So it's an interesting avenue to explore. But to your point about Chucky, by the end of this movie, one element I did like about that is that he decided he didn't want to repossess anyone.
That's a great moment. Yeah,
he's a great moment. It's like, why do I want to be human? Every time I try to be human, something fucks up. And he gets to say the awesome line, "I'm Chucky the Killer Doll," and I dig it. It's a great line, and it's a great realization for him too. So.
Yeah, no, that I do love that too. After all these movies and all of his, I got to get out of this body. Him being like, wait, no, maybe I don't have to get out of this body. So that's a good arc there for Chucky. This is so Glenn or Glenda, obviously a huge reference point there, but also Psycho's clearly a reference.
Psycho is huge. There's a Shining reference. There's callbacks to other movies. They use some Universal monsters.
Well, I'm not just saying like there are there's a Shining reference, but I'm talking more like Psycho is a pretty big like influence as far as like the spoilers for Psycho, the female persona being the killer,
the wig, and also I mean Chucky's literally the movie they're filming is called Chucky Goes Psycho. There's a shower scene. Let's start at the top.
There
of the movie.
There are boobs, which threw me. I was like, oh yeah, this is the first like nudity.
I was going to ask you if it was the first nudity because it certainly felt like it. Also, the opening. Well, aside from the I think even for the time this was bad CGI. Like this was it felt unfinished. It felt like someone was showing us a temp animation track.
Yeah, no, it's bad for sure for the time. And that's something that I often will bring up with people who talk about like, oh yeah, I can't watch movies from like the late 90s, early 2000s because of bad CGI. I'm like, well, some movies had great CGI. And that's why it's like when you watch something like, you know, again, I say with affection, but like the original Mortal Kombat movie that has a lot of bad CG or stuff like that, it's like, you have to understand these movies were opening alongside the Jurassic Park movies and movies with exceptional CG. But like, you know, everyone made fun of the Scorpion King in Mummy Returns, which just had its anniversary this week.
Oh yeah, that was terrible
looking. And that was a huge budget movie. Like, I don't know what happened there, you know.
They ran out right at the end.
I guess so. Didn't have money for the Scorpion King, but yes. So it was bad CG for at the time when it opened as well. Although, yeah, my first note here is semen. The other thing I should actually want to say before even the semen, though, is if you wondered about the Rogue Pictures logo, because Universal's been releasing these movies since 2, and who the hell is Rogue Pictures and why is it not Universal? It is Universal in a weird. It didn't change ownership. Rogue Pictures was it was like a sub company of a sub company, because Focus still exists. Focus is the art house arm of Universal. It puts out movies like Emma, and Rogue was an arm of Focus that would make genre stuff. They also put out Shaun of the Dead and a few other movies in that decade. Now defunct. So this was like a one-off that Universal didn't use Universal to release this movie. Universal still owned it. They still get to put it in all their box sets. It's still part of the franchise. Like they're the Universal owned movies, but it has the Rogue label on it.
The opening scene is something that's more evocative of the old Child's Play movies. And so it's almost like showing you like this is where what the Child's Play movies used to be, running around, not showing you the doll, murders. It's more of a sort of a horror flair. And so I wonder why they included that. Were they trying to make you think Mancini was trying to make a statement like we're not this anymore, or because it seems like a weird, Glenn or Glenda mentions having nightmares, and
I think it's just the battle within Glenn or Glenda over the killer instinct, you know. So because we see this nightmare, and it's like it didn't really happen, but that's something that like the character is just
because the stab of the dad who falls off the railing down below was really cool.
Oh, it was, yeah.
And if people don't know who voiced Glenn and Glenda, it was Billy Boyd of the Lord of the Rings franchise. Billy Boyd played Pippin Thicc, who was from Merry and Pippin, Mariotta Brandybook, and Pippin or Peregrine Took, known as Pippin. So that's fun casting at the time, because Lord of the Rings were right before this.
I mean, it's very funny because it's like I wonder is a chicken or the egg question, because it's like, you know, Glenn or Glenda has a British accent. Billy Boyd has a British accent. It's like you don't need the plot because they end up coming back to America anyway. So it's just a funny thing. Also, by the way, it's a very unusual thing that the horrible guy who's named Glenn or Glenda Shitface and just exploits him doesn't get killed. He loses his money, his meal ticket. But
doesn't he lose the chance of true friendship? And isn't that worse than death in a way, Eric?
Yeah, I guess it is. He had something great and he treated it like shit. And
let's talk about the fact that this was filmed in Romania, and we've got Jennifer Tilly and we've got Redman in it. And we've got Brad Dourif doing the voice of Chucky, but Billy Boyd's English. Hannah Spirit, who plays Tilly's assistant Joan, is English. I'm thinking they just got a lot of English people. Well, John Waters is in it, but like
no, but I think you're absolutely right. There's a lot of British actors, and
because Jason Fleming is in it. He's very quickly playing the Santa in the Chucky Goes Psycho movie, and he was in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and he was in Guy Ritchie movies. So
X-Men First Class, he's Azazel, the Red Nightcrawler, as it were.
And so, this is just a mix of like English and American people. Because
I think you're absolutely right.
The fact that young Sherlock Holmes shows up at the end, Eric.
They were filming in Romania, so it was just easier to get actors from England than America for some of these smaller roles.
Okay, I know we're like talking about, we're not going scene by scene here, and we probably won't. But Jennifer Tilly, I like the meta aspect of Jennifer Tilly. I think she's really funny. She's really funny even when she's playing evil, but she's funny. She is funny when she's trying to be funny too. So I think she works really well. What was the climate at the time with calling her fat? Like, what was that about? Like, she's on a diet on the set of this movie, and then later when Chucky's dragging her, it's like she's so fat. Like, she's not fat. Like, what's happening?
No, I think first of all, a very good sport, Jennifer Tilly here, playing herself as a someone like willing to sleep with someone to get a role and taking all the sort of and
saying very knowing things about her career, like I won an Oscar and now I'm fucking a puppet, but
I think if I were
nominated for an Oscar,
if I were to hazard a guess, it's just being, someone who'd been in the public eye for a while, and while in no way fat, maybe not as skinny, Hollywood skinny as she was 10 years before, and had heard some cracks or some tabloid stuff about it. Speculation, but I think that was probably just like, because it seemed like they were just like, let's just bring up every kind of thing, that could be said. Would be said, and again, I don't know how much she was suggesting. I mean, she and Mancini are super close. Like, they've become like very good friends, and they're always like tweeting each other pictures of. She has a Tiffany doll she poses pictures with all the time. She is definitely like way into being Tiffany. So I can only imagine that's just something where she's like, oh, I've heard people call me fat. And that became a part of the movie, is those remarks.
Anyway, she gets to do some truly funny things in here. She's got great lines. She's got that whole like when she's trying to cover up the screaming in the background at one point, and she's like, "Oh, Bound is on TV. Gina Gershon's fingering me."
That is a great line.
Amazing line. The moment that killed me, though, is when she's running around the house screaming, and she turns the corner, and Chucky's literally standing there with his cup of jizz, and he's like, "What do I do with this?" And she screams. That is an amazing comedy beat. Like I said, there are moments in this film that just had me rolling. But overall, it's a giant sort of shitstorm. So Jennifer Tilly, Glenn and Glenda, they're in England for really no reason, except maybe they just had an English actor. Literally, this English character, Sykes, was somehow in Jersey, stole this doll from the cemetery 6 years earlier, somehow right after the events of Bride of Chucky, brought it to England. Poor Glenn and Glenda has been a slave, a prisoner for all this time. It's been terrible. Pisses his pants routinely and escapes, like you said. He's not a killer, Eric. So Sykes doesn't even get Final Destination or anything, like accidentally killed. Like he's just not a killer. The title, the headline, the top of the bill moniker of Sykes and Shitface is hilarious. Like that name, like just the fact he calls him Shitface.
And there's a banner.
Yeah. Shitface. It's like the Jim Rose Circus. So he escapes after he sees Access Hollywood interviewing people on the set of Chucky Goes Psycho, which is filming in Hollywood or filming in Los Angeles. And like we said, is based on these dolls that somehow became this urban legend after Bride of Chucky. Again, no mention of the previous three Chucky adventures. But then in keeping with the family tradition, Glenn and Glenda mails themselves to Los Angeles. This is a huge doll thing to mail yourself.
Yeah.
And there's a whole running joke about the made in Japan, quote unquote, like tattoo or the decal on the arm that is somehow also on his arm because it's something that can be passed down through Chucky's DNA.
I don't mind it being passed down. I have to bring up that it is a continuity break because Chucky is made in Chicago. We've seen the factory.
Yeah, I know.
That's an American-made product.
Because the doll, because the doll that would have given birth to him was reassembled from, the doll from Child's Play 3. So that was the one reassembled, mixed in with the goo, with the blood and the goo in the beginning of Child's Play 3. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Did it make me not laugh at Arigato Okasan at the end? No, I still laughed at that.
And I laughed at, we're from Jersey. We're not from Japan. We're from Jersey.
Yeah, are you ninjas? Yeah.
Solidifying actually for Liv that both Chucky and Tiffany are from New Jersey.
It's a fucking movie.
It's a crazy movie. That you weren't
Eric,
there for.
Is this a crazy movie?
This is crazy. Matt wasn't even there for when that happened, when the old woman declared Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation was a crazy movie. But he's heard the story, and she was right, and she would have been saying the same thing about this movie.
She would have said the exact same thing. She's like, you remember Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, The Next Generation? Remember how that was a crazy movie? This is also a crazy movie.
This is also a crazy movie.
You know what this movie needed, Eric? Mr. and Mrs. Spottish.
Oh my god, every movie needs that. I want to do the Chainsaw Massacre movies at some point, mostly to talk for 3 hours about that movie.
And how it's just like such a profoundly bad movie that's hilarious, and we have a poster.
It's amazing.
Okay, so then
I was also going to say that, like, Jennifer Tilly making fun of herself. I mean, even her voice, which some people say is annoying, and there's a ton of, Chucky is like, that voice, and her being like, I know, like an angel. So it just seemed everything was on the table, Matt. Everything was on the table. What was the climate in 2004 for Julia Roberts too? I'm trying to think of her as sort of a go-to Hollywood joke. Was she like at her? I feel like she wasn't at her apex celebrityness, but she's the sort of go-to. No, that would have been Brockovich. I mean, I don't think it was the only joke is that she's such a huge star, and that she'd be someone that Jennifer Tilly might be jealous of because she is an A-list star who's just leading all these things. I think that I don't think there was anything about like making fun of her.
Okay, so Brockovich was in 2000. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. Where does the time go, Eric? I can't remember when anything came out except Young Sherlock Holmes, which came out in 1985.
Sure.
Okay. Glenn and Glenda had the amulet, right?
Yes.
Okay, so they somehow wound up with the amulet. The amulet we now know can just do anything, right? There's no actual rule to how the amulet works. There's no real reason to delve into the fact.
Again, the shifting rules of the voodoo, which I honestly, Mancini, has kind of gone on record that his attitude is I don't give a shit, because he never would have put in voodoo in the first place, because that was put in by the writers for the first one. So now he's just like, it can do whatever I want it to, because I'm stuck.
And also, we keep saying this is not real voodoo. I'm just saying, like, this is still just like made up, like, stereotype of what someone in the late 80s thought would be a voodoo thing.
Right.
So at this point, the amulet can be used to transfer Chucky and Tiffany's soul into people who are right in front of them, like the human beings at the end they were trying to possess.
Yeah.
Or, as Glenn and Glenda used it, to just bring their souls back into these dolls.
And for that, it was just this super short, Ade Demois, just this tiny phrase on the back of the amulet, and that was all it was needed to bring them back. I like that effect, by the way, of how their eyes go from just like plastic white to the lines coming into them.
Oh, okay. Also, I guess Jason Fleming, the actor, was playing himself. I guess maybe they call him Jason on the set.
Okay.
Tony Gardner is here as the first kill. Yes. The makeup designer who plays himself as the puppeteer on this project, who gets decapitated by Chucky and Tiffany right as they're sort of brought back to life in a way that made me wonder if this movie was supposed to be in 3D. It was bad CGI, but also
it wasn't. I mean, because we're pre-Avatar, and that being a make it. I mean, it definitely suffers from the. Again, I think this is definitely something that a lot of horror movies, especially because we even talked about it with some of the Jason movies and later ones, which is digital effects on low budget movies where they tend to be not as good, and it's just very obvious, like, that's digital blood and whatnot, and these movies, especially because you want that visceral thing, it's just, not to say you can never do a good gory digital effect, but when it's obvious it's a digital effect, you're like, I would have liked something on set. Now, so Tony Gardner taking over here, we should mention, for Kevin Yeager, who did the first 4 movies, did the Chucky puppet effects. Tony Gardner has done all the ones since. Very talented guy. Tiffany, by the way, she gets a little bit of a image makeover, because also they all joked on Bride that, like, Tiffany couldn't do as much as Chucky, like her face couldn't move as well. So like they improved her, but I will say I like Yeager's look a little more. His Chucky, especially, and Tiffany, but they look a little more menacing. These again, I guess it kind of fits the tone that they're going for here. But Gardner's, while they move very well, they look a little more, I don't know, almost cartoony. Like they're a little more sweet looking, and I like my Chucky, even if he's being funny, looking sinister.
Speaking of sinister, hang on, I just killed a massive spider that was on its way toward me.
Okay.
All right, guys. That's my shoe. Okay.
Killing a spider.
Whew. That was, I might have to come up with a new way of podcasting now. Because right now I sit on the floor in my room.
We're getting the Chucky and Tiffany's on again, off again, and they get turned on by killing Tony Gardner and them both covered in blood.
We also have the moment that Liv talked about last week, which is when the back is open. Yeah, when like he's kind of hurting Tiffany by opening up her back, and like Chucky can't take it, but when he opens her back, it's like human lungs at this point. There's no doll parts.
Yeah. I had forgotten about that until she mentioned it. Again, a lot of inconsistencies here, and as we joked about how quickly they become human, parts of them become human. But as a creepy horror visual, and as we said, this movie doesn't have a lot of quote unquote horror beats, but opening up a plastic doll and seeing like blood and guts inside, that's pretty cool.
And yeah, it was cool. Like it was one, actually, it's anytime you can actually see anything in this movie that's not CG is pretty cool. And this is also when I have in my notes here, we kind of skip past this. Chucky's gonna faint because then Chucky faints, and when he sees that he's got a kid who his mom sweetly refers to as sweet face and not shit face,
right? That sweet face was a term she used in the last movie for Jesse. So
Glenn and Glenda sees his parents, who he's just discovered, and they've just met him, murder somebody, and so they really are trying to draw a divide here between like this. Glenn and Glenda is this sweet child who just wants to meet his parents, has no idea that they are these horrific spree killers. And then the killing becomes an actual big part of the movie where Tiffany wants him to swear off the killing. And, both of them are kind of sneaking murders behind the other one's back because it's also treated as an addiction. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, it's also sort of parlayed into other themes where he's like, I shouldn't have to keep my murdering in the closet. But remember when he opens the closet at the end and like all these bodies fall out? Like, where did they come from? I don't know.
I don't know either. Well, I guess I'll stop there for a second when you mentioned the keep it in the closet thing, because the thing about this movie, it's sort of cult, no pun intended, because there's a movie called Cult of Chucky coming out. But it's cult within the Chucky movies is that this is, quote, and articles say this, the gay Chucky movie. Look, Don Mancini, openly gay filmmaker, and this movie has a ton of very kind of queer coded stuff in it and has been very embraced by a gay audience for that reason. And as you said, I mean, it's so crazy and funny to say that this movie, freaking Seed of Chucky, but is dealing with a sort of non-binary character and gender issues.
And I don't even want to call it like, there's actually there's a Twitter account called Accidentally Left Wing, when like sort of the alt-right or Republicans make a point and they don't realize they're actually making a great point against themselves. It's a funny Twitter account. But this movie it's almost accidentally left wing, but it's not, because it was intentional. Like, this is what Don Mancini meant to make. This is the movie these themes aren't just there by accident. This is, he was trying to make a statement, and it is really cool that it was as early as it was, because it's something that's a huge part of the dialogue today, which is now 17 years later. So.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like one day we'll get to the Nightmare on Elm Street movies and we'll talk about 2, which is quote unquote the gay Freddy movie, and that's got all sorts of sort of funny but also dark connotations and how that intersects the kind of the queer overtones with Freddy and what it might be saying. Now, this movie is about serial killers, but that aside, it's like, Mancini is very much embracing sort of all this stuff about, gender and identity and all this stuff. And I Googling last night, because I already seen some articles before, but I looked it up, and a lot of like interesting kind of LGBTQ websites and things that talk about this movie. just because it is like so, and it's also extremely again purposely campy. And we mentioned that it's referencing Ed Wood. And then John Waters. Of course.
I was going to say, if we're talking about sort of campy, transgressive cult films, then it's got John Waters in it.
In a role that he originally wanted Tarantino for. That was Mancini's first ask, was trying to get Tarantino to do it.
No, I thought he wanted Tarantino to play the Redman character.
Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm so sorry. You're absolutely right. You wanted to play the Redman character. The Waters character, it was always Waters because... this was funny. He knew Waters was a big Chucky fan, and he knew that because Justin Wallen, who played older Andy in Child's Play 3, was in Serial Mom.
Oh, he was in Serial Mom. You're right.
Yes,
okay, yeah.
He played Kathleen Turner's son, and he told Mancini, John Waters freaked out about me being for Child's Play 3 and how much he loves those movies. So Mancini always knew that for years, and so it was an easy ask and an easy yes. Unlike Tarantino, he didn't get two auteurs in this film, but he did get Mr. Waters.
The recent Britney Spears documentary did mention nothing about how she was killed off in 2004 Seed of Chucky.
That is, there's again, it's like, you can't blame them. Who knows what the future holds? It's like, it's the Britney thing I think is still funny, even though, yes, obviously we've come to this sort of moment of truth of like, oh, wow, we were all really shitty to her back then. There's also an Anna Nicole Smith joke. And of course things turned out horribly for her. But in the moment, who the hell knows, where things are gonna go.
Okay.
But the movie, very campy, very, embracing all this stuff that just, again, it's a huge swing. And I don't think it completely works, especially because it is a Chucky movie. And so it kind of bends it too far from what you need at its core to kind of that something to kind of keep you tethered to what was before. But it's a weird and wild movie, man.
I agree. And I do think that its ambition is to sort of be lauded here. I think it does interestingly fly in the face of like heteronormative family expectations and things like that. Like that something that it's not like unheard of for the realm of horror. Horror is all about analogy and metaphor and for revealing the plight of marginalized communities and something like that through its stories. This just happens to be a lot more on the surface than horror usually plays it.
100%, yeah.
Okay, so in the sake of expediting some of this, let's break down the plot here. Chuffy and Tiffany are back. Chucky and Tiffany. Did I say Chuffy? I think I said Chuffy.
That's their stripper name.
Chuffy, yeah. That's their couple name, like Bennifer.
Yeah.
So Chucky and Tiffany are back. They've got a child who is genderless at this point, Glenn or a Glenda, or Glenn and a Glenda. The child is not thrilled about them being killers. Tiffany wants to make a huge change and wants to make a sort of a transition to being a real family. Wants to have... I didn't understand this until the end of the movie, which is that she wants to have a kid, but the kid is so that Glenn or Glenda has a body too.
Yeah,
right?
A human body.
And then at the twist at the end, she has twins. And so Glenn and Glenda actually chooses the gender, which kind of a little bit, I don't know if you saw this, kind of flies in the face of what it was trying to state before that. Because Glenn chooses to be a boy.
Yeah. I think yes and no in that, I guess if you apply strict, if you try to make it like a 1-to-1 about like whether it be like gender fluid or it doesn't, nothing is specific here as far as like, oh, this is 100% about being transgender or non-binary.
No.
Gay.
Yeah, I know.
It's more sort of the overall, I'll just use the term queer of it all. Don Mancini said, his basic, and I think he said in an interview, was like, what if Chucky had a gay kid, which is not exactly what the story is. So I agree with you what you're saying. Like if you were to try to follow it, like it does kind of, it does it by Glenn and Glenda's actually splitting off into two people. It doesn't follow that. But I think the movie is not operating on that specific level. It's more about like, Chucky's got to deal with a kid who's, different.
Well, it's just in this case, it's Chucky as a kid who's unexpectedly not what he is, which is a killer. And so the plot of this is that they want human bodies. And so Tiffany has decided that Jennifer Tilly will be her vessel.
Who she loves.
Who she's a huge fan of.
Yes.
and that Redman, who is in this playing himself, another character playing himself, as a hip hop artist, actor who is now getting into directing and is going to direct a Bible movie.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be Chucky's body. And then they're going to artificially inseminate Jennifer Tilly with Chucky's sperm. They're not going to use Redman's sperm. Well, we'd later learn he had a vasectomy anyway. But they're going to do that, have her give birth, because Tiffany doesn't want to go through that again. And then after the birth is when Tiffany will possess her.
Right.
It's all so like weirdly specific. And then there'll be a family of 3. Turns out they're going to be 4. Turns out that's actually not the case at all because Chucky gets chopped up anyway. But that's the plan that they have. And so they're sort of hitching a ride and stowing away in Jennifer Tilly's life, in her limo, in her home, waiting for her to fuck Redman or get him over there so they can knock him out. I can't believe this is the plot. Okay.
it's a lot. It's like, I like that there's a through line from the last. She loves Jennifer Tilly until she's pissed to find out she's like basically promiscuous, which follows the 4th movie pretty well, where she was all like, I'll kill anyone, but it's like, she's all about like the couple, strength of a couple. That's why she didn't want to hurt Jesse and Jade. So she can't abide Jennifer Tilly sleeping around with the limo driver and Redman.
Yeah. And then Eric, Chucky jerks off to
while John Waters watches
to Fangoria while John Waters watches, and while Chucky looks up and laughs maniacally while he's jerking. Like he's just decides this is the moment he's going to murder cackle. I can't. You could tell this to somebody and they would not believe you. That this happened, not just in a Chucky movie, in any movie. This is absolutely absurd, and it's also great, but it also doesn't make for a great movie. So at the same time, it does both things.
They knew what they were like. Mancini knew what he was doing, and I mean, it's very funny when Chucky finally screams out, "There's a limit to how much I can take. Look around you, Tiff. This is nuts." Like he literally is like, "This is fucking insane."
Eric,
like, what is happening?
When Jennifer Tilly and Redman toast, when they have their champagne or whatever,
yeah,
they go skull. They say skull when they toast. They're Vikings. Like it's out of nowhere. Like it's hilarious.
It's well, and then it's funny. I had kind of blanked. I've seen this movie a couple times, but it's I haven't watched it. I've watched Bride a million times, but because I don't like this nearly as much, I haven't watched it as much. I had forgotten the artificial insemination thing, and I'm like, whoa, like this is pushing it, and to a place that could be seen as many as like just offensive and too far. I think it gets away with it mostly because it is Jennifer Tilly playing herself, and the person who you could argue is just assaulting her is herself. It's like she's
holding the sperm dripping turkey baster.
Right. So I think that lets it get away with something that might, that might be too far for people. It's still too far for people, but I'm just like, wow, this is absolute batshit. Like this is next.
I need
level.
to somehow get a mini clip or a gif of Jennifer Tilly turning that corner, Chucky standing there with a tiny cup full of his semen, and
I'll make you that.
the reaction. That should be at the beginning of every Alamo. That should be in the pre-show of every Alamo theater.
I mean, this movie is like, of course, there's like a cult for this movie because, as funny as it is, again, it's like within this like cult horror series, but because it's just so insane, like, yeah, it's just it was always going to be a smaller audience who was going to be into everything they're doing because it is.
Let's talk about continuity here and a really interesting pull. Now, it's only from one movie ago. It's not like they're pulling from 2 or 1 or something like that. But Jennifer Tilly calls the widow of the police officer she kills in the beginning of Bride of Chucky named Bailey. And you know that name because she takes his lighter. She's got a Bailey lighter. And so she calls the widow fucking cop Bailey and like sends that widow into like an emotional hell and crying, something like that. But again, it's one of those things where
as part of her amends.
How many people actually who were watching this remembered that cop from that movie 6 years earlier, unless you were super way into Bride of Chucky? But I still appreciate the fact that like this series, even though this movie isn't addressing the Andy Barclay of it all, it's still always going to remember its past.
Yeah.
Accelerated. Oh, another line that just fucking made me die. They're executing Martha Stewart this morning.
I forgot about that. So that's a big return joke.
It's a return from Bride of Chucky, but just the fact that like in this reality, like she got the death penalty for tax evasion.
She went to jail in our reality, but yes.
Or that's just Chucky's take. He sees anybody being let out of a jail or prison, he's like, "Oh, off to the electric chair."
The other thing they continue from the last one and give you a reveal we didn't know we were going to get on is that Tiffany always says, "My mother always said," and then Chucky revealing that he killed, that he hates hearing about her mother, that he murdered her mother. So I guess it's very Mickey and Mallory, right? Like killing the parent of the person. They also mentioned Tiffany as a sister.
That explains your sister,
right? Maybe this is the best movie.
Is this the greatest movie? Just fucking Chucky when he's going through the jerk off magazines, he's like, "Hey, lesbos."
I was gonna quote that's in my notes too. Lesbos.
Like, this was such a bottom barrel like character. So great. Okay. So voodoo pregnancy, accelerated pregnancy. So that now we've got that on the table. Like that she could just give birth and like
he killed Britney Spears. Yeah.
2 days later, he killed Britney Spears. He kills John Waters, or Glenn and Glenda kills John Waters accidentally. Was sulfuric acid.
I do like again as much even though you can tell it's digital. I do like the macabre death of Waters. Well, him screaming. He's been two-faced. And then Chucky having them pose for a photo that poor Glenn is very sad about is a nice.
Well, it's like that photo would come back in a comedic way, like it would undo Chucky at some point, but then like later at the end, it's like he reminisces fondly as a human boy about his doll father when they were both dolls and this dead burn man in the middle of them. So then actually Glenn and Glenda in the psycho wig kills Joan.
Yeah.
So as
poor Joan,
it comes out that as it comes out that Glenn and Glenda's parents are actually still killing on the side and trying to keep it a secret, making him be the burden of those secrets. Their eye starts twitching quite a bit.
Yes.
And that's when they go sort of the psycho crazy and wear the wig and have to sort of be slapped out of it by their mother. And so they get one kill in. Yeah. Like that's all I guess they killed John Waters technically, but that's when the psycho of it and the mommy dearest of it. And like, there's a couple different films it's referencing at that point.
By the way, it's funny that they, because I said how it was funny in Bride of Chucky, how every time people saw Chucky and Tiffany, they were like, ugh, about Chucky. But then in this movie, that's Glenn. It's like everyone's like, ugh, like about this doll, including Chucky.
I know. Well, their name is Shitface. So, well, yeah. And he's like, it looks like they fell off the ugly tree and have every branch on the way down.
They keep the fangs from the baby at the end of Bride. They continue over.
What do you mean?
Just the little baby when it's born at the end of Bride and leaps at the cop has like fangs, and so does
xenomorph fangs. Yeah.
So does Glenn. Like the sharp.
Oh, okay, yeah, good point. Okay, then we get the Chucky moment of truth where Chucky's like, I don't want to be a human. Chucky snaps. Everybody shut up. It's just like he makes his declaration, like, "What's so great about being human anyway?" And Tiffany's like, "I want to be Jennifer Tilly." Right. And
the limo driver gets killed.
Chucky gets to say, "I'm Chucky the Killer Doll," and I dig it. He also gets to say, "I'm one of the most notorious slashers in history," which is quite a meta line for somebody who's an urban legend. I mean, I guess as Charles Lee Ray, It's just most of his murders aren't known as Charles Lee Ray murders. They're known as accidents, or they're blamed on someone else. But then we've got what happens? Chucky gets stabbed? Who gets stabbed? Anyway, it all winds up in the hospital.
Right.
Because the cops show up. The cops show up. They take Jennifer Tilly to the hospital. Young Sherlock Holmes is there. She's had twins, a boy and a girl. And this is when we get the death of Tiffany, well, for now, and the fight between Glenn and Glenda and Chucky.
Which a rather cringy moment there.
For what?
Glenn doing the martial arts with the music.
Yeah. I also wondered how much of it was a take on the Wachowskis' The Matrix because of Bound.
Oh, yeah.
So because that flip looked like the kind that Lawrence Fishburne did in when they were doing the kung fu training.
I don't know if Bound, I wouldn't even, I don't know if, I wouldn't even take it to that level, but just to say that certainly it's coming in the wake of Matrix and Crouching Tiger. And so, yeah, there was a little bit of an influence there. And,
the Chucky Shining moment when Chucky's, bursts through the door with the axe to Tiffany's head. Tiffany dies. Glenn and Glenda says, "Arigato okasan," and big fight. Chops up Chucky into little bits. Again, we're past the Chucky dies, comes back. The one-upping of the deaths of the first three movies.
Now that there's multiple doll characters,
now that there's dolls just stabbing each other and throwing knives at each other, it's kind of enough. The absurdity, it stands on its own 2 feet. Then we get a 5 year later cut to at the end. She's got her kids. They're 5 years old. It's their birthday. Glenda is a demon seed, and Glenn is actually kind of what Glenn and Glenda was as a doll. Glenn is just a nice kid who's nonviolent and is an angel. Turns out that
which continues when because Glenda was the murderous side. Yeah.
Right. That makes sense, but nobody possessed Glenda, right? We're not to believe that the murderous side of Glenn and Glenda went into the girl baby.
No, and I also want to ask the question: if there had been no possessions, who would have those twin babies be? Who were the product of Chucky and Jennifer Tilly? Like, presumably they'd have their own personalities, right? So it's like,
well, Glenda does. Glenda's just a killer, awful girl. So we just don't know who Glenn would have been.
Yeah.
Comically stark Ronald McDonald red hair on both of them.
Yes,
and
like their father.
But Jennifer Tilly, we find out the spell did work and is now so. Jennifer Tilly, who voices Tiffany, is now possessed by Tiffany, who's voiced by Jennifer Tilly.
Yes.
But now
Tilly Tilly is living her life. Is not really Jennifer Tilly. It's Tiffany, the killer doll, is now taken over her life.
Who's voiced by Jennifer Tilly. So it gets to sound the same for us. And explain that to anyone walking down the street. That's why I wish Billy on the Street still existed, so he could run up and just scream that plot point into somebody's face.
What do you think about the scene of Chucky when John Waters is watching Chucky jerk off to Fangoria? He could be joined by John Waters when he does it.
What did you think about that?
And we didn't talk about, by the way, when they do the gag of like Jennifer Tilly and Tiffany both being on the phone with Julie and like,
I mean, we mentioned it brief. It's just that played like an Abbott and Costello routine.
Oh yeah, right.
Okay. No, we didn't. I mean, again, I can't go through I can't bullet point every crazy thing.
It's funny. Someone tweeted to us about how, this was like the shortest movie yet. They said it was like 81 minutes. It's not 81 minutes. It's like 88 or 87. But again, they pack a lot into these under 90 minutes.
Well, movies. I think 81 without the credits, but yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Without the Jennifer Tilly scream montage at the end, which is also very funny.
And including everyone's death scene for their credit, which is funny.
And so
it's very too many cooks, honestly, before Too Many Cooks, watching how they do that.
Chucky mailed his arm to his son, or I don't know, like somebody mailed the arm to his son, but the arm attacked him and he's pissed himself, and that's the end. Okay, Seed of Chucky, an absolute batshit
fever dream of a film.
It's again, I think you really had something here if you kind of shaved the craziness by like half. As what you've said, Don Mancini kind of retroactively agrees with that. But at the time, 6 years later, like I don't know what the actual reasoning is behind like why it took so long to get a sequel going after Bride.
There is I want to. It's one of those things where I need to source this quote because it's on the wiki page about like that because he wrote this movie. Yeah, he wrote it right away because Bride was a hit. He wrote it right away. It was written by 99. Oh, well, there are two things. There's one thing that I have to source because there's some quotes where he said that Universal didn't want to make it because they said it was too gay when they first read it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he did want to write this movie because he was interested in exploring LGBT related themes.
Yeah. But he also said in an interview I watched yesterday on YouTube, something that sounds, I feel like now 22 years later, people might say that sounds insane, but it made sense at the time, which is one of the reasons Seed of Chucky didn't happen and got development kind of pulled the plug on was Columbine, because that again has we've never seen anything like it, horrific thing, did have a profound effect to the point that 2 episodes of Buffy got shelved. Scream 3 got completely changed. So as ludicrous as these Chucky movies are, there was a very big fear of the influence of these things on the young, because at the moment, as you know, people then push back on, it's like, oh, what made these 2 kids snap? It was the movies, it was the video games, it was the music. And so the studios were being very reactionary at the time. Buffy's season finale didn't air because of this, even though it was about snake demon fighting.
It was still violence at a school. Yeah, and so yes, to your point, Columbine came a year after Bride of Chucky, so that makes sense.
It came in April, 6 months after. So while they were writing this movie, so that is one of the, as crazy as it is, that was a reason that at the moment Universal didn't want to make another Chucky movie. They did when it was a big hit, Bride, and then they shelved it because of Columbine.
Okay. It's a strange. You know what? I'm glad it exists. I would not begrudge its existence. I think it's a for me an intriguing and unique failure ultimately, but it's also not something like going forward as the movies sort of you'll see with the next 2 movies creep back really strongly into horror. Like not even like Bride of Chucky type horror really, but just like sort of like more of towards Child's Play's roots. That I don't dismiss this movie. I don't go forward saying like, oh, this didn't happen, there is no Glenn or Glenda, Jennifer Tilly doesn't. Well, we'll actually find out later that everything is everything. The movies themselves also don't pretend like this doesn't exist. So yeah, I'm perfectly fine incorporating this in any way that I can compartmentalize, like into the whole oeuvre of Chucky. But now that this is a wait and see opportunity for us. So now that the Chucky series is coming to TV and is pulling from literal stars from the series. Is this something that can once again address the plot of this movie somehow?
Right.
Like I'm interested to see like how this ever fully gets sort of like wrapped up into everything. If it's going to kind of get swept under the rug thematically and narratively, or if they're going to even lean more into it. The movies were sort of like teasing that, but like the Chucky series is coming out, so
yeah. I mean, I think everyone understood, Mancini included, that they need to do a course correction after this, but at the same time didn't want to ignore its existence. But yeah, we'll talk more about there's a lot to talk about with the next one and kind of the approach they took. I actually realized I there's something I'm glad I remembered, which is try to make sure, if you can, when you're watching Cult of Chucky for next week, as I know you want to, you're watching the unrated version, because there's a post-credit scene for Cult of Chucky, but it's only in the unrated version. There's a couple other little differences that are actually plot differences that are important, or plot additions in the unrated version. So try to see that you have the unrated version, and then stay through the credits. And if there's not a scene after the credits, then you just watch the R-rated version.
And you're like, no, that's the real twist of the movie, is that I watched the wrong one. Well, I mean, you and I will talk. You can always listen to us talk about it. We'll bring up the post-credit scene when we talk about Curse of Chucky next week, which introduces Fiona Dourif, Brad Dourif's daughter, to the franchise. And until then, thank you for joining us on yet another Chucky installment on this long Child's Play journey that we're taking. Everything is possible, but nothing is real. And Shakma.